You know, one of my great friends who was Roland Barthes died with the remorse that he didn't write a novel. And he was wrong because all his essays were narratively fantastic and beautiful. Okay. On the contrary, I realized that even though I started writing novels at the age of 48, I was always narrating. Even my academic papers had the form of a narration. So I satisfied a sort of narrative impulse in two ways: by giving a narrative form to my researches and telling story to my children. Then probably I started writing a real novel when my children were too old to listen my stories. The real surprise and the real pleasure was that writing doesn't mean to take a pen and to trace alphabetic characters. It's starting a research. For The Name of the Rose, the research was very short, no more than 2 years, because it was about Middle Ages, and I had studied and written about, so it was enough to open an arm, and I had the files and files falling at my feet. But with the Pendulum, it took 8 years. And for the other novel, 6 years per novel. And that is the fascinating aspect of telling a story, to create a world, to decide how our spaces, characters. Except for The Name of the Rose, I repeat, for the other, for at least 2 years I didn't write. I was creating a world in which my character then could move with ease. That is the most fascinating part of the story, to stay 6 years in which nobody knows what you are doing, but everything you are doing, even to drink a coffee, can give you an idea about the story. Then the writing, when comes, is pretty felicitous. But okay, then you have moments in which you need to close everything in your drawer and to stay 15 days doing something else. Okay, but that's natural. It was told by many writers. You have moments of crisis in which you don't know how to get out of a certain situation. At the time, I am usually helped by swimming, either in a swimming pool or in the sea. You swim and you think. And when swimming, with your body very relaxed, you have a lot of new ideas. I always repeat, it is not the author who writes the novel. The author posits some starting points that the novel writes himself by itself. You have to follow the logic of the characters. I didn't start this story thinking of a journalist called Braggadoccio. He arrived in the middle of the story and obliged me to follow him. I have, first of all, to create a world. I have a lot of drawings in which, for The Name of the Rose, I designed all the faces of the monks, which were not so useful because then I changed it, but I needed to have points of reference. For the labyrinth of the library, I designed, I don't know, 50, 60 different labyrinths, studying all the existing labyrinths. For the island of the day before, I designed all the interior of the ship, very complicated with the staircase, the ladder there, because I had to know how my character could move. But when the German publisher, you know, the Germans are always precise, and wanted to reproduce design on the book. I said, no, I had to know what happened. The reader has to be as confused as the character. I wrote a book called The Lector in Fabula, about narrativity, in which I make an enormous radical distinction between the empirical reader and the model reader. The empirical reader is the reader which exists. And so Barbara Cartland, or I don't know, the author of pornographic novels or very elementary detection stories, looks at a pre-existing reader. I write for the housewife. I write for young people. I think that serious authors, on the contrary, build up, construct their reader. The first, my Italian publisher that was immediately enthusiastic of the name of the rose, he said, but he said, well, the initial description with historical events are too long. They said, no, I want to prepare the reader to face a narrative situation, so he has to make a penitence. If it is unable to do, okay, go on.